Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. The weekend is over, so now it is time for my rant, my spoiler thoughts and review of I Know What You Did Last Summer. I wanted to give the courtesy of the opening weekend, so now that it's Monday, I can talk about this freely, but I am still going to warn you. If you are interested in going to see I Know What You Did Last Summer and you don't want the movie spoiled for you, you're not going to want to watch this. I am talking details thoroughly about this movie, so shut this video off now, go and see the film. And if you hate the movie just like I do, then please feel free to return so we can just be miserable together. So I went to go and see I Know What You Did Last Summer on Thursday. I don't normally go to the movies on Thursday, but I was just so excited to see I Know What You Did because I am just such a huge fan of the first two movies. And you guys already know this. I already explained that in my review video of the film, so no need to rehash that. So massive fan, looking forward to it. I could not have been more disappointed walking out of that movie theater on Thursday. I was actually kind of depressed with how awful the film was. I ended up giving it a 1.5 star on my Letterboxd, and so now I'm going to tell you the reasons why. Let's start off with the script itself. The overall script of this movie is extremely weak. The dialogue is horrible, absolutely horrendous, and also there's no originality in the script. I mean, I know we have to kind of follow the overall, theme of the original film, I guess. A group of friends, a horrible circumstance happens, and then we have a killer to get revenge. That's pretty much all the basic plot points that you have to hit on in an I Know What You Did Last Summer movie. But it just seemed like with the new version, with the entire event that kicks off everything, it was very reminiscent of the original film. In the original film, we get a hit and run that turns into a supposed murder with them dumping the body. And then in the 2025 version, it's pretty much, it rides along the same theme of that. We have the group of friends. They've all been partying at this engagement party or whatever it was. There is one sober person, the bride-to-be. She's the one driving. So that's nice. We actually do have a sober person. But all the rest of them are drunk. They hop in the truck because, of course, it's 4th of July weekend, and they want to go and check out the fireworks. And the best place to check out the fireworks, where? The curviest road in Southport, of course. So they're traveling up there, and they decide to pull over at the most dangerous part of the road where it curves just like that, how you see it in the movie. That's where they decide to pull over. And they're being stupid idiots. They're standing in the middle of the road. And of course, what happens? A car comes along, or in this case, a truck comes along. And to avoid hitting them, the truck swerves over to the left, hitting the guardrail. The group of friends do try to save the truck. So I guess that was nice to see. They did try to save it. But eventually, the truck ends up falling over the cliff. So for me, I would have preferred an opening or the kickoff circumstance of everything to be different, because it just rides the same line. Not like this is the horrendous part of the movie. This is not the horrendous part. This is just like little bits and pieces of complaints that I have. So I would have liked something a little bit different. I'm not sure what, but I'm not the one writing a movie. Okay, like I just wanted something different. Now let's talk about the kills. This is where I have a lot of complaints. And by the way, I know my face is like kind of red right now, This is not because I'm heated about the movie. It's actually hot in my room. The fan is off, the AC is off, so I'm a little bit warm. This is like my second recording of the day, so I'm already sitting in a room that's a little bit warm. So that's why my face is red like this. It's not because of the movie itself. I just wanted to point that out. So now let's talk about the actual kills in this film. They suck. They absolutely suck. When you compare 2025 to 1997, I thought in 2025 we would have more gore, more blood, more carnage candy in this kind of film. Because back in 1997, when the original was released, a lot of the kills in that movie, I don't know, they just seem kind of tame. The overall movie is tame. I'm not really scared when I watch I Know What You Did Last Summer. It's a good time horror film from back in the day that I have a lot of nostalgia for, and that's the reason why I love it so much. But it doesn't really ramp up the gore factor. That's why a movie like I Know What You Did from 97 is a great horror film to watch if you're brand new to the horror genre. So I thought with the new version, we were going to get some awesome kills. A lot of blood, a lot of gore, a lot of interesting different types of kills, maybe using different weapons other than the hook. So, or like weapons that are associated with, boats and things like that. Which they did kind of do, I guess, but the overall kills in general, I was disappointed with. The best kill in the movie by far, of course, is the kill that we see in the trailer. My opinion, anyway, this was the best kill because we don't see the fisherman right away. It's that kill where it's the couple in the house and she goes off to take a bath, and so he's like in the kitchen, and then all of a sudden there's like a little like spear or something that goes through his shoulder, and then slowly we see the fisherman come into the house out of the dark. That kill I really enjoyed because there was a little bit of tension and suspense, and then of course it goes from there. And there was blood and gore with that kill, but it seemed like all of the other murders that happen in this film, they just happen right away. Like, boom, it happens. It's done. Like, the victim is standing there. They think they hear something. They turn around, and there he is. He's like right there. There's no tension building at all where like the victim is, looking around and, possibly like around a corner or something. Like, nothing like that. It seemed like a common theme throughout the entire movie was that the fisherman always knew where this group of friends were at all times. It's like the fisherman had literally nothing better to do than to stalk this group of friends. And just, they knew exactly where they were, exactly how to get them every single time. And I just had a big problem with that because in horror, you have to make the kills exciting, suspenseful. I mean, there was no great big chase scene moment in this movie. I mean, I guess you can kind of call, the little moment with the bride to be, where she's kind of being chased, she's running away from the fisherman and she hides in like the float or something, I guess. But it's not what you would call iconic. The chase scene from the original 97 with Sarah Michelle Gellar towards the end of the film when she is running away from that fisherman, that is a long, extended chase sequence. And I was expecting to see something like that at any point during the movie, and it just did not really happen. That was extremely disappointing as well. There was just no drawn out like, ooh, are they going to escape? Are they going to get away? What's going to happen? And then it was just bad choices and dumb freaking decisions. Of course, always in a horror movie. Now, the the dumbest kill in the movie. This one, I could not even believe it. We have I don't even know what to call him. He was like the first fiance when the movie opened. Then he was the ex-fiance of the bride to be. And now he's like, I guess, back in the picture. That guy, he's at his house, and this was his moment to get killed. And he thinks he sees something, and he's going down this hallway, and the light isn't, there's like very like glowing lights or something around, and he has to go down this hallway, I guess, to turn on the light. I don't know. I would think there would be a switch where the door is, but that's just me. So you can clearly see a figure down at the other end of this hallway. Now, mind you, there's also like a statue that is there. However, as I'm watching this movie, I can clearly see the outline of a fisherman's hat and also a bigger frame in front of that statue. So if this is your home and this is where you live and you should be extremely familiar on the items in your house, wouldn't you think if you see something bigger than the statue that you normally see, you probably shouldn't go down there? It was so freaking stupid. He walks down this hallway to flick on the light or whatever it is, and literally the fisherman has him in his sights and just gets him right there. Perfect example as to what I'm talking about. There is no like moment where there's like no struggle, like no nothing. It's like he just walks down the hallway, fisherman gets him, boom, he just lands, he's dead, he's gone. Like, that's it. They were all like that. That bothered me. Really, really bothered me. It just felt like the kills were not really creative at all. Maybe like the tools that he was using to do the kills, besides the hook. But other than that, like, not really. So that was a major disappointment. No worries. I'm getting to the ultimate disappointment at the very end of this movie, but I'm going over like all of my points. So now let's talk about something that kind of bothered me as well. This whole movie bothered me, but this point really bothered me. In the original film, Julie and Helen were kind of doing detective work because that's how they ended up at Anne Heche's house, where they discovered that she was the sister of David Egan. I forgot his name for a second. She's the sister of David Egan, who is connected to Susie Willis, and they're like trying to figure out all this information. They were doing detective work. It kind of bothered me that in this new version, no one in this group of friends was doing any kind of detective work, because if they did, they would have seen the picture of the victim of the crash standing next to one of their group, one of the, I knew I was going to mess this up. They would see the picture of the victim with one of the members of their friend group. There we go. So that's where the script is getting a little bit different. They're kind of going the Scream route, so they're actually stealing from another horror franchise, but that's okay. So with the original I Know What You Did, it was a complete stranger that was getting revenge for, what happened. But in this movie, it's actually a member of the friend group that is a fisherman. So you see that moment, but what really bothered me was that it was not it wasn't like the final girl seeing this. It wasn't another member of the friend group. It was a random police officer, where they go to this church to try to find someone that they think is a suspect of being a fisherman. We saw this through the eyes of a random cop. It would have been more satisfactory to see this through the eyes of one of our cast members that we know, that we are following. If they were doing their homework, if they were doing their detective work, they would have seen this and they would have realized it. So that was a missed opportunity, that we saw this through the eyes of someone else that we don't even freaking know, instead of one of the group members. You know what I'm saying? It just didn't really make sense to me. That's where the script is at fault, and that's where it just didn't connect, and I didn't really like that. Plus, looking at the picture, it was so freaking confusing because there was like 10 different people in the picture, and they're only focusing in on it for a couple of seconds. So I'm looking at it and I'm like, who am I looking at? I was just a little frustrated. It would have been more simple if there was 2 people in the picture, the victim and the fisherman. That is it. That would have been a lot simpler and a lot better. So that really got on my nerves as well. Now let's get to what I really hated about this movie. The killer, the fisherman, the killer, what is going on, the motivation, all of that stuff. All right. Last minute warning for spoilers, as if I haven't spoiled this movie enough already, but this is the major spoiler of the entire killer situation. So again, if you don't want to know who the killer is, back out now because I'm going to spoil it all, reveal it all. Okay. So the big twist in the current I Know What You Did Last Summer is that there's not 1, but 2 fisherman killers. So again, this script is taking away from a sister horror franchise from Scream with the 2 killer situation, because Scream is known for having 2 killers in the majority of their films. So now we have 2 fisherman killers. Who are they and what is their motivation? I'm going to start with the less shocking reveal. So killer number 1 is one of the females in the friend group. Now, when it comes to females being killers in Scream or I Know What You Did Last Summer, you kind of have to have a suspension of disbelief, because in the situations that are in the movie with the kills and how fast they're going and is that possible, it's very difficult for me to believe that this girl who is the killer in this movie would be able to do half of what happened in the film, because obviously there's 2 of them, so she didn't do everything. But this girl is like 90 pounds soaking wet. She's a tall, rail little thing, okay? Like, she weighs nothing. So for me to believe that she's really responsible for half of what occurred, very difficult, extremely difficult. But again, you have to have the suspension of belief thing going on. Her motivation for doing what she's actually doing is stupid and confusing. It's stupid and confusing to me. The victim, and it's also contradictory as well. The victim, this was not really clear to me. It was either her friend or her boyfriend. I was not 100% clear on which one it was. Again, I think that was bad script writing. But what I really did not like is the fact that she's a hypocrite in this movie, because she blames her friend group for the death of her friend, boyfriend, whatever it is. But you were there. She was there. She was there when the incident happened. Now, she tries to excuse it because one of the final girls did call her out and say, well, you were there too, which was smart of her to do. Probably the only smart thing she did in the movie. But the female killer is trying to, I think her name is Stevie. Stevie's trying to cover this up or glaze over it by saying, well, I didn't know it was him. Okay, so that makes it okay? Like, because you didn't know that it was the victim was connected to you, it's okay if it was someone else. That's really messed up for her to say. Like, it was all right if it was anyone else, but because I'm connected to this person, that is my reason for doing this. So I just thought that was very contradictory, very lame motivation, and it wasn't even clear who she's getting revenge for, her boyfriend or her friend. I didn't know who it was. Again, it wasn't made clear. Honestly, the entire third act of this movie went like lightning. It was so fast. I would have to watch this movie again to sort out all of those details, because the first time around watching in the theater, it was too much. all these things were happening. And remember, we got a second killer that we have to get to. So Ray hops onto the boat with, I think someone else or whatever, and he ends up shooting the female killer. So we're like, yay, the day is saved. But then right after he does that, it's revealed that Ray, Freddie Prinze Jr., is the other killer. He's the other fisherman. Okay, let's talk about this. Why am I so upset about this? Because as soon as that was revealed, I wanted to walk out. As soon as that was revealed, I wanted to walk out. Okay, let's calm down for a second. After sitting on these thoughts and opinions for over 24 hours now, I will say, I will give a small bit of credit to the writers for this creative choice. Making one of your survivors from the original films and actually turn them into a killer later on, I think is something that a lot of writers for other horror franchises that maybe could have done this have not had the balls to do. Okay, so I will give them credit for that. But that's the only thing that I'm giving them credit for. It's a big swing. It's a big, huge swing. But the way this script is written, this reveal and the motivation is not justified. This whole entire big reveal, no, it didn't work. It did not work for me. And there's one specific moment that really bothered me in this third act. So Ray is revealed as the other fisherman, and then we have to say to ourselves, why? Why are you doing this? Well, he is connected to Stevie, the female killer, because she works for him. At this point in time, Ray is no longer a fisherman. I don't think he is. He owns his own bar called Ray's Bar, very creative. So she is an employee of Ray's. So that is how they are connected. That's how they know each other. So I guess to support his employee, Ray thought it was a good idea to become the second fisherman. But that's not the real motivation. The real motivation for Ray to do what he is doing is because for the past few decades, the political figures in the town of Southport have been trying to move on from what happened in 1997. I mean, can you blame them? Okay, I don't blame them at all. You want to move on. You want to kind of rebrand your town. You want tourists to come to your town. You want everything to be okay. You don't want people to be afraid to visit, is what I'm trying to say. And so because of this, 30 years later, Ray's really upset by this. And that's his motivation. He wants to bring back the fishermen because he wants people to remember what happened to him and to Julie and to, other people. I guess he just wants everyone to remember Southport as Murderville and, no one move on with their lives. I don't really know. I'm not really sure why Ray could not let this go. I'm not really clear as to why 30 years later he decided to open up another killing spree, but he did. And that's his motivation. As soon as everything was said, I was like, this is the lamest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. Now, I've not even mentioned Jennifer Love Hewitt yet. Okay, I haven't. Maybe I mentioned her name, but that's it. So for her involvement in this movie, which is barely anything at all, as I mentioned in my regular review, my overall review of the movie, her acting in this film, I think, is horrendous. I do not see Julie James, a character. I see Jennifer Love Hewitt getting a paycheck for being in a legacy sequel. So I do not see the character of Julie James, which was really disappointing because she lost her somehow, some way. And Ray, Freddie Prinze Jr., I mean, he was never really that great of an actor, but come on. I mean, it's the character of Ray. Like, it's very simple. It's very, very, very simple. So that was extremely disappointing. And also what bothered me was that we never got any kind of backstory or an explanation as to what happened to these two legacy characters in this movie, because they are now exes. They were married, they are ex-husband and ex-wife. And what really got me questioning is the fact that in this movie, they absolutely hate each other. Whenever their names are mentioned to the other one, they're like, ugh, or they have some kind of reaction to their name, or if they're mentioned or whatever it is. So something had to occur that went down to make this all happen, obviously, because true fans of the franchise, the last time we saw Julie and Ray, they were happy, they bought a house, and I'm assuming they were on their way to getting married, which they did, but what happened to make everything unravel? That's what we were getting no explanation for in this film, and it was driving me absolutely crazy. So when Ray was ultimately revealed as one of the fishermen, it got me thinking, well, maybe that was the reason why they divorced, was because Julie could see that he was like mentally, just spiraling, and she wanted to get out of that. But the hatred between the two of them, I still don't know why. They hate, like venom, like venom hating each other, like snakes hissing. Like they don't like each other at all. It's just such a drastic shift from the first two movies to this film. And also, as Ray as a killer just really, really freaking bothers me, because he was the hero in the first two movies. He saved Julie both times. He freaking drove a boat across the ocean to the Bahamas to save her in the second movie. Like, it just really doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to me. But where this film extremely bothered me, as if I wasn't bothered enough, is the fact that right at the end of this movie, before Ray gets what he has coming to him, at the very end, he was about to kill Julie. He was going to gut Julie with a fish hook or whatever it was. I think it was the hook. I can't even remember. Everything was happening so fast. But he was going to kill her. That's when she says in the trailer, "What are you waiting for? Huh?" The classic line from the original film. That's when I wanted to walk out. That was it. I was like, you know what? You're going to kill Julie, the love of your life. I know it was so many years ago. I know that they are divorced now. But even if you divorce someone, are you really on that level that you want to gut them with a hook? I mean, come on. You're going to gut Julie just to prove a point and to have this be a memory? It was so ridiculous to me. It was just so crazy. So thank God the final girl got up, shot Ray with a spear or whatever the heck it was, and he's gone and he's dead. So Ray's out of the picture, but you know what? We're not done yet, because the female killer is still on the loose. This is setting up the sequel for this, okay? We're not done yet. We're getting there. The female killer apparently is still alive in the end of this movie. I'm guessing that Ray shot her with blanks and she willingly fell over the boat. So she's still out there. Now let's talk about the very, very, very end of this movie, which is totally ridiculous. So the bride-to-be, the one that is like, oh, I should start drinking and, all that stuff from the trailer. Okay, she was mumbling throughout the entire film. But she played the bride character with the multiple fiancés. So she got gutted, okay? Like a hook went into her on the boat. She fell over. At the very end of the movie, she washes up on shore. She's alive somehow, some way. The very last actual scene of the movie, I kid you not. This is where I'm like, this script is so fucking dumb. I'm sorry I swore, but I have to say it. And I know this is running a little long, but I have to finish this. So, the very last scene of this movie, you have the bride that got hooked, and you also have the best friend of hers, which is the final girl, I guess. When there's two of them, but whatever. They are both walking out of the hospital. How? How in the heck is the bride to be walking out of the hospital when she had a hook in her stomach, and I'm guessing going up her lung cavity? Like, how? How is that possible? It's not. It is not. If she survived that kind of situation, she would be in the hospital for at least a month recovering. But I don't see how she would recover, considering a hook went right into her. But she's walking out with her bestie, joking and laughing. What did she do? Take an Advil and slap on a Band-Aid and walk out? Like, what is this? Like, did her insurance not cover? So she's like, okay, I'm out of here. That's stupid. That was so freaking dumb. It was asinine. Absolutely asinine. I'm thinking, did she even get stitches? Like, at all? It's just so freaking unbelievable. Again, the writing is just so awful for this script. This movie sucks. These are all the reasons why this movie sucks. And I'm sure there are more reasons. By the way, there is a post-credit scene with Brandy. I have to mention that. If you stay, and I hope you do, there is a post-credit scene. We got Brandy. Now, there was rumors that Brandy was going to be in this film somehow, some way. They saved her for the post-credit scene because this is leading into our, I guess, upcoming sequel that we're going to have with the team up of Brandy and Jennifer Love Hewitt. So Brandy's at home with her husband. She's got the news on the TV. She's saying, she's seeing everything about Ray. Ray's picture and Julie's picture is up on the news. And I wish she would have said the line, damn, I never cared for Ray, or whatever. That would have been hilarious if she said that. It would have been something, like I felt like all the dialogue that she was saying was just so terrible. So we got Brandy. She sees the news. All of a sudden, Jennifer Love Hewitt is knocking on her door. She goes to answer it. They're acting together. Weird and awkward as hell. Okay, like I know it's been decades since you guys have probably even seen each other, but let's get some kind of chemistry going on. It just felt so wooden as hell. It was not natural at all. It was like it's like they didn't even know each other. It's like you guys survived through hell with each other. You were roommates. Like, why is the acting so terrible? So Jennifer Love Hewitt comes in and she shows Brandy that she got a note and I think a picture with her and Brandy in it, and Brandy is X'd out like she's the next one in line. Okay. Why is this female killer turning on Julie James? I have no idea. It doesn't make any sense. Why are you targeting Julie James? I don't even think you've ever met her in your entire life. I certainly don't think she's ever met Brandy in her entire life. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't, unless it's a different killer. But I don't think so, because we know the female killer survived in this movie, so I'm just assuming it's still her sending this creepy ass note in the mail. Doesn't make any sense. And then there's an exchange of dialogue. Jennifer Love Hewitt says something to the effect of, yeah, it's been a bad month. Like, I'm not even kidding you. This is the writing. This is the writing that we're dealing with in this movie. And then it's going to be like Thelma and Louise style with these two going into the next film. I don't know. I'm exhausted. I'm exhausted from talking about all of this. It is so ridiculous. So bad. So freaking bad. Those are all of my reasons. I'm sure I would have more reasons if I watched this film again, but those were like the major highlighted reasons as to why I Know What You Did Last Summer 2025 sucks. Absolutely sucks. I have already vowed I am not going to buy this movie when it comes to physical media. To me, This movie does not exist in this franchise. Like, for me, it's 1 and 2 and it's done. Like, I'm not even acknowledging the third movie. I'll always know because I heard that movie really sucks. I'm kind of wondering, like, how much does it suck? Because would I like that movie more than this one? I don't know. I honestly don't know. It would be interesting to watch it and then to do a ranking. I would love to do that, but you can't stream. I already looked. You can't stream I'll Always Know anywhere. So I can't watch it. I don't have it on physical. I never picked it up because I heard it was god awful. But those are my reasons. Though that's the spoiler review of this freaking movie. Like, everything that I did not like about this film, pretty much in a nutshell. I will watch the film again. Pretty much the only reason because my mom wants to see it. I told my mom about it, and I don't think she believes me that this movie is really as horrible as I told her. And I said, just you wait. Just you wait until it goes to streaming. It's Sony. It's going to go to Netflix when it goes, and I will rewatch it again. Because honestly, I do want to see if those explanations that I was missing, if I just missed them, or like, did they miss talking about it like in the script, like in the dialogue? So I want to rewatch this film because I want to see if I was actually missing out, if they did actually explain, or if they just completely just like, nope, we're not going to explain anything. So that's my spoiler review. Not really a review, just spoiler. That is my entire spoiler of I Know What You Did Last Summer 2025. In a nutshell, Ray's a killer. He completely changed his personality 30 years later, and he was looking for vengeance. He wasn't looking for vengeance. He was looking to be remembered in a really, really horrible way. That is it. That's it in a nutshell. Comment down below and let me know your thoughts about this movie. Am I overreacting? Am I overreacting at all? Like I said in my initial thought review of the movie, this entire situation with Ray being the killer spoils those first 2 movies for me, because I want to remember Ray as the hero, being in love with, Julie James and being that couple together. And for him to go from the hero to the villain, yeah, it's a big swing, but that swing did not work for me at all. So let me know your opinions about this. Comment down below. I'm going to shut up now. I've been talking for over a half hour. I am good. Now it's your time to talk. Comment down below and let me know your thoughts of I Know What You Did Last Summer 2025. Do you agree with me? Yes or no? Don't forget to like and subscribe before you leave, and I'll see you next time.